Hello, everybody. Welcome to this second session Ignite Showcase. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Paco Biosca. I'm from Lleida, Spain. And as most of our audience, I'm a person passionate for sport and a professional in the sport event industry. I study journalism and I have a master's degree in sport journal management. And I work in many events as I start to be an old person. I'm just turning this summer 40 years old, so I have been already in many events. Which events are we talking about? So I can start to mention a few of them. Pan American Games in Rio 2007. In Beijing, I was able to spend 3 months there working also for the IOC and the International Paralympic Committee. In London, Rio again for the Rio 2016 Olympic and Paralympic Games. And now I am working for UEFA for the Euro 2020 that, as you know, it has been postponed for 2021. I'm working in one of the cities of this big tournament, which is Bilbao in Spain. Okay. But today, we are not going to talk about myself. We are going to talk about Gustavo Harada and his incredible story. That's the whole purpose of this showcase series. We want to introduce incredible event professionals. We want to know more about the people who work behind the scenes of an event. They are not the stars of the event, but they are the ones who make everything possible, and they make sure that the professionals, they can perform, the athletes, they can perform the best way. So I think without wasting any more time, let me give you a small introduction without losing into many details about our guest and about our start today, about Gustavo Harada. Gustavo has been 14 years working in the sports industry, always very focused and specialized in the Olympic movement, organizing committees, national Olympic committees, and even, for example, in the Brazilian Snow Sport Federation, which is really attractive place where to work, probably, working in Brazil and in this Snow Federation. Currently, he's working for ANOC. And most of you will say, what is ANOC? So the acronym responds to Association of National Olympic Committees. Also, Gustavo is the co-founder of IGNITX. And of course, he will explain more about that later. Okay, so I think it's time to welcome Gustavo. Hi, Gustavo. How are you? How is everything?
Hey, Paco. How are you? Thanks a lot for having me here today. And I'm looking forward for this chat with you. Everything's fine. I'm here in Lisbon, Portugal today. It's a beautiful, warm day.
Thanks to you for being here with us, and thanks for taking the time to explain your story. Okay, which I think is going to be really interesting for many of our audience. So the first question, Gustavo, pretty easy. As I said before, we are passionate for sport, probably
Correct.
most of all of us. Tell me why sport? Why you have decided to build your career in the sport industry?
Well, I guess I'm very thankful for my family for this. And I was involved in sports since very young. So as a kid, I was given the opportunity to engage and try different sports. So I did judo for many years. I did some tennis lessons, and I did team handball in school and university. And I also did sailing, which was a sport that I had put more of my energies. So after being so much involved in sports and liking it so much, I decided to study sports. So I entered the University of São Paulo in the sports management course. And from there, I was able to, start my way into a career in sports management. So that's more or less how it started.
Good. What was your doorway to enter in this market? Like the most important moment when you say, okay, that's going to be my life,
Yeah. Well, it's a funny story. And when we start thinking about the things that happened in the past with you, you understand that there are these little actions, these little moments that there's an opportunity is presented to you and you have to grab it the best way you can. I was in university still. I think it was my third year, and Mr. Nussbaum was the president of the Olympic Committee at the time. He was already starting in one of the campaigns for the hosting the Olympic Games in Brazil. He went to my university for a lecture, and I watched the lecture, and I was very interested. Said I gotta get involved into this. So I went to talk to him after the meeting, but he's a busy guy and he had no time. But he was very nice. He gave me a few minutes, and he said, "Look, if you're interested and if you want to go to Athens, come with me later today to the club because there's going to be an event." It was the presentation of the Brazilian team who was going to Athens. So I went there, and I went with two of my colleagues. And once I was there, he introduced me to some people who worked at the NOC. So I made some good contacts, and this way I managed to get suggested to be a volunteer for the Athens Games. And then from there, it all started.
Okay, perfect. Later we will talk about volunteering because I think it's like a really important point especially for young people. Yeah. But maybe I think it's important also to talk in your case about you have been an athlete and the influence of being an athlete, how you have been been experienced the organizing part as an athlete, how that impacted you a little bit,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was an international level. I did participate. I had the opportunity to represent the country in a few world championships and some junior events. I was not Olympic level in any way. It was far from that, but it was great being involved in international competitions. It makes you grow a lot and have a different perspective of sport and what it means globally. And then that's why I was very intrigued and passionate by it. That's why I decided to actually to work on it and join it. And after I went to Athens and I saw how big and amazing the Olympic Games are, I said, that's it. That's what I have to do. I have to find a way to join this. But for sure, it's good that I was there as well as a competitor, because this, when you as you said, the organizers sometimes they don't realize, but they do have a big responsibility with the athletes, because the athletes, they train very long time, they put the long hours of dedication for that specific time, and that's when everything, all the energy that he put, all the investment he's made is on play. So everything is there for that moment. Sometimes it's the most important moments of their lives. And the organizers needs to make sure that everything works well and the athletes are able to perform in their best way without being damaged by a bad level of service, by late transports, bad food, bad accommodation, and all of these things.
So now that you're talking about that, like, I would like to know if you remember any experience as an athlete or working maybe for the Brazilian NOC where the performance of an athlete has been impacted on a positive or negative way because something happened in the organization.
Yeah, there is one case that I can clearly remember. It's from Beijing 2008. I think it was public. It made the news. It was from the Brazilian pole vault jumper. So Fabiana, she was good. She had a good chance of getting a very good result. But the competition for pole vault, the way it works is that there's a first round of qualification, and that the top 12 athletes go to the finals. But from moving to the finals are in a different day. So after the initial qualification, the athletes who did not make the final have their poles taken back to the village by the logistics team. But Fabiana, she had a very large number of poles, and Beijing did this one structure that all the athletes had to put their poles inside. So as Fabiana had so many, on her specific spot, it couldn't fit all the poles, so she had to leave some of her poles outside, and one of her competition poles were taken back to the village. So on the day of the final, when she reached a certain height, she went for this specific pole and it was missing.
Wow.
So that took her out of the competition, because athletes are very sensitive mentally. So something like this that takes her out of the routine really took her out of the competition. So some people say, well, she had like a lot of balls, she could have taken another one. But when you are an athlete and you need to be precise, especially in a sport that, it's all about precision, you have your specific routine. And once something on this routine is changed, it definitely damages your confidence, So this was something that was an error from the organizing committee and had a direct impact on the athlete's performance.
I think also now that you're talking about the Brazilian athlete and you being in Athens, I remember one of the most iconic moments in the last editions of the Olympic Games. Maybe I think Vanderlei Lima, in Athens 2004 with all the marathon. It's pretty amazing, how it was difficult for the organizing committee, in my opinion, probably to secure all the area. It was almost impossible. We are talking about a long competition, but these type of things happen a lot, right?
Yeah, for sure. That was, I think, one of the most iconic interventions in an athlete performance during the Olympics. And he was winning the marathon, which was something amazing. So, yes, for him, when you
the marathon and in Athens, imagine.
Exactly. So, for sure. No, okay, it's very hard. You cannot put fence security for 42 kilometers, but I think that the organizers, or future organizers, understand now they need to protect the winners, those who are in front. So something like that doesn't happen anymore. Well, luckily he was able to recover his breath and his focus again and still win bronze medal, which was fantastic. And he was still super happy about it because he's an amazing person. But indeed, it could have gone very wrong and he could have been out of the podium. So this is the kind of thing that the organizer just needs to be ready. It's impossible to predict everything and prevent everything, but we need to do our best to control as much as we can.
I totally agree with you. So now we're going to change a little bit the focus of the interview. We will go into another area. And the question is more like which recommendations will you give to young professionals who are considering joining the market, working in the sport event industry?
Yeah. Well, sometimes I think as sport is not too different from other areas, other professional areas, it can be challenging in the beginning. People might feel a bit lost and not know how to start. But the thing is, it's even if it's not easy, you gotta keep striving. If that's something if you are certain that this is what you want, you gotta go for it. And go for it, meaning, try to research your local market, see where are potential events that you could be placed on, opportunities, people that you could connect with. To me, it all started because I went on that specific day. I went to talk to Newsman. Because he was in my school. That day was that triggered everything that I was able to accomplish later. So whenever there's an opportunity lying ahead, young professionals should go for it and grab it as tight as they can to go for their dreams. And getting to know people, making themselves known, even if it's working for free, being a volunteer, making suggestions, and this is the way. Not giving up, but striving, making yourself visible, trying to talk as many people as you can. Today, online, there are many tools that you can use for it. LinkedIn, you can ask for guidance on LinkedIn. You can get yourself known. You can search international job opportunities, which in our time was not that easy. So now it's much more fast at how things are moving and opportunities are global.
Yeah, I think you and me, we have something in common that as young students, I think both of us, we started as volunteering in events. You already mentioned that before, but I think probably this is one of the best advices that I don't know, I want to know your opinion, right? But volunteering, I think, is probably the best way to access into this industry.
I think so. And to me, honestly, I was volunteering in two situations. I was volunteering for the Athens Torch Relay when it passed by Rio. And that was my first volunteer. And then with the contact of Newsman, I was able to join as a volunteer in the ANOC assistance program for Athens. And then not only I was able to meet a lot of people who are still working with, I can still relate to them today. They're still on organizing committees, some people from the IOC, some people from other Olympic committees. So I was able to connect to a lot of people, but also I had an amazing time. I think being a volunteer in Athens, I mean, Athens was the location for the creation of the games, the whole history behind made it a very special moment. Besides the Olympics being already something amazing, so after that moment, I was sure that that's what I wanted to work with.
Good. I think it's a good moment to have a first small break in our interview in order to say hello to our audience. We have Ilva from Latvia. Hello, Ilva. I hope that you're enjoying this interview. And also we have a question from Neo. Hi, Paco and Gus. Gus, what were you the most memorable games when you work in the Brazilian NOC? You have been in a lot of games, Gustavo, but maybe you can tell us which were the most memorable games.
Yeah,
you never know. Maybe the first ones. I don't know. It's up to you. You know.
No, before I start, I just wanted to say hello to Cecilia. She was a great co-worker in the Olympic Committee, and we had lots of challenges together. We had a great time. So, out of your question, after the question from Neo, sorry. So, in the Olympic Committee, I did all the games starting in Beijing 2008, all the way to Pyeongchang 2018. Out of memorable games, I think every game has a different something different that you can record. No, I think Beijing was amazing games. Everything was like gigantic and grandiose and was beautiful. But on an operational side, I think there was a lot of challenges. But at the same time, the games that I liked the most, I think I would say London. London, I think, was a very great games for both the athletes and the teams participating, and for the spectators. And so I think that was a very, very nice organized edition of the Olympic Games.
I was afraid that you were going to be very diplomatic, you know, but I think at the end you were not being diplomatic, which I really appreciate that, you know.
Well, Rio was my home games, so it was also very special for personal reasons. And I really like Vancouver because it was my first Winter Games, and I really loved it. I have a special passion for the Winter Olympics.
I think that's one of the other questions that I wanted to make. I think it will be interesting to know for some people that they don't have too much experience in the sports industry world, in the Olympic movement, which are the big difference between the Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics.
Well, I guess the Winter Olympics have many less sports, less athletes, and less countries participating. But doesn't mean that these are easier games on an organization, on a delegation organization perspective. The logistics are not easy. Those are very risky sports. When you go for it, because usually in the Winter Games you have a coastal cluster where you have all the stadiums. And then you have the mountain clusters where all the skiing competitions take place. So there's always a lot of transport operations involved. You had satellite villages. So for us, although Brazil was a small team, we were divided in different sports. So logistically, it was always challenging. And as they are risky sports, our medical team always had to be on call for anything, because accidents are part of the winter sports competitions, so we always had to be ready. So I guess these are the main differences, but those are both great events. Obviously, the summer one has a way broader reach in terms of audiences worldwide, but they're both very nice and special. I think the Winter Games is more cozy. You know, you feel more. Mm-hmm. You can relate more with the people. The ambient is different.
Cecilia Alessandra Cironi she wants you to talk about the Singapore experience.
Yes. So
I think it's another really good question from the audience, because I mean, sometimes we just summarize everything on Olympic or Winter Games, you know, and I think Singapore was a different context of games too.
It was. To be honest, it was me and Cecilia managing the team. And we were very scared, because it was the first time that we were taking a lot of underage athletes under our responsibility. So we took a lot of time thinking about all the potential risks and what we're going to do. But we were very successful. And I think both myself and Cecilia, we shared the feeling that it was very, very rewarding to work with these young athletes. You could see in their eyes that they were young and they were passionate and they really had this dream of going to the Olympics. And I think we did a good job because Brazilians are usually known for being, party people who are there, like to have fun. But I think we did a good job in putting them, look, here, you're athletes. You cannot do whatever you want. We are trusting you. And we were right to trust them because they behaved really well. And it was an amazing experience. I became a fan of the YOG project after Singapore. And I think myself, Cecilia, and the rest of the team, we did a good job and we were very happy about it.
Slowly, we are having more people chatting, slowly we have also a friend of us, our friend Patrick Casto. Hi, Patrick. Thanks for sending the message to us. Really nice to, well, this second message, I don't know if it's that nice, but, I think you could avoid this message, but it's fine. So, yeah, and now we have another question from Tiago Harada. I'm going to leave that to you.
I know this one.
Yeah, I think you should know.
Yeah. So Tiago is my brother.
Yeah, and, I could imagine that. Why I know
yes.
that. Sorry, I know.
We are from a family of three brothers, and we're all passionate about sports. So Tiago was also, when my first organizing committee was Rio 2007, together with you and a lot of our friends. And Tiago was there as a volunteer for the Canadian team. So he had a great time. And for sure, I think the village is the most special place in the Olympic Games, because in terms of the competition itself, sometimes the World Championships, because of the qualification process, has even a higher level than the Olympics, which is possible in some sports, because you have a limit of European teams in certain sports, etc., etc. So sometimes the level of the competition is higher in the World Championships. But when you go to the Olympics, the big difference, the competition is great, it's awesome, it's a show. But the difference is the village, because the village, you have not only people from all 206 countries, but from all these different sports with different characteristics, with different social backgrounds. So it is something that I don't think you can find it anywhere else. There you have people from North and South Korea living in peace, all having the same level of service, sitting to dine all together. So these kinds of things are really magical, and I think the Olympic Games are probably the only opportunity that these kinds of things can be seen and happen. And obviously the fact that you're having dinner and then you have Michael Phelps sitting next to you and Usain Bolt sitting right there, it's fun. It's different. It's very special.
Good. Now we want to go a little bit more in deep. I think it wasn't your biggest experience, I think, and the longest one, based on your curriculum, is you have been working for many, many years in the Brazilian Olympic Committee. You went from an assistant to the International Game General Manager. So yes, there are a lot of steps from one to the other. Yes. So to what do you attribute your career development?
Yes, it was a very long and rewarding journey, and I was very lucky because I had a fantastic bosses who taught me a lot, but also gave me the chance and the opportunity to grow. And I think that when I think now, after that phase has passed, I think that the main reason for me to be able to reach that higher position was because I was always seeking on ways to improve things and how we could do things better, try to understand which were the challenges of the organization. Where do we want to be in the next Olympics, and why did we not do as good as we could in the past ones? So I was trying to find solutions and make proposals. And I think that characteristic that I had led to the recognition of people, and that's why I think at the end I took the position of general manager of international games in 2015. So I really think that eager to change and to improve the organization was something that was recognized and really helped me a lot. But I think one important thing was that every time we finished a project, we would sit together with the team and see, okay, successful or unsuccessful, what can we do better? There's always something that we can improve.
Good. I would like to know more, like, to explain people what is your role, right? As what it means, international games general manager. What's your role inside of what was your role inside of the Brazilian Olympic Committee? What do you working for years period time? What all the procedures, and so young people can understand what was your role at the Brazilian Olympic Committee.
Yeah. Well, but before I do want to go to this question, I have to complement something. I could not have grown in the NOC without the team, right? I had an amazing team. I was very lucky because since I was given a managerial position and I was given a team to work together, the team was always amazing. I was very, very lucky to be able to work with very, very capable people who are some are still there, some are not there anymore. But without them, I wouldn't be able to reach success in some of the projects and got the recognition that led me to the position I had in the end. So I'm forever thankful for them as well. Without them, it would not have been possible.
Good.
Yeah. Moving to your other question. So the International Games Department, we were in charge of all the delegations. So in some NOCs, they work differently. So in some countries, the National Federation have a deeper participation in the Olympics. So they do their own travel plan and they work with their own competition uniforms. They do their own sports competition logistics. But in the Brazilian NOC, we do everything. So all the travel plans, all the village planning, all the negotiations with the airlines, the uniform planning, the logistics for the boats, for the horses, for the kayaks, for the canoes. So all the aspects of the competition, as well as the pre-games training camps, the Brazilian Olympic Committee was in charge, and it was myself and the team managing everything.
So we can say that you were coordinating many different departments internally inside the Brazilian Olympic Committee, national federations, and at the same time integrating all your plans with the organizing committee, more or less.
Correct.
Right?
Yes. So our team was doing the interface with the IOC and with the organizing committee, and with the IFs making all the confirmations for the sports qualification. But then we take care of pretty much everything in terms of the operation of the games.
Good. Perfect. We have another question now from Neo. Is what will you say is your biggest achievement while you're working in the Brazilian NOC? Your biggest achievement?
Well, I think being the host team in Rio was, I would say, the biggest challenge. And as there were many difficulties for the NOCs to operate in Rio for different reasons, I think that I was very lucky because the team really did everything, to make it successful, and that our athletes would not be negatively impacted with all the potential risks that were involved. The village presented many challenges, but we had people working literally overnight, sleeping 3 hours a day to make sure that when the athletes arrived, everything was perfect. I have to say that was the only time in all of these years, in all these games, that I wasn't sure if we were going to make it for the first time. And I said, this is the home games, and this is the first time that I'm not sure if we'll be able to put everything together for the athletes. So it was very difficult. But luckily, we had a team of, within the Olympic Committee, the International Games, it was a group of 6 people. But then, obviously, we put together a bigger team So we hire, we get the team doctors, the team physios, and we have the people from the sports team and all of the other areas of the Olympic Committee to put together, the delivery team, the delegation support staff. In Rio, it was more than 90 people that was under our operation. And all of those people, they worked really hard to deliver the games and the operation successful for the Brazilian athletes in Rio. So I think that was the biggest achievement and the biggest challenge.
I think you're right. I have not, based on a little bit my experience, I don't know. You spent a lot of years in the Brazilian NOC, but I'm pretty sure that was one of the most difficult times for sure.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting, Rio 2016. Good. So now the next question is like, okay, why did you decide to leave the Brazilian NOC?
Yes.
At the end, probably, how many years have you spent in the Brazilian NOC?
Yeah, I started right after the organizing committee of Pan Am Games, so end of 2007, and I left last year. Now, February 2019 was my last month. So that was a question that I got a lot. So why are you leaving?
I mean, at the end, we are talking about 12 years, right?
Yes. So, well, there are a few reasons. It's not one specific, but a group of reasons. I think I had reached, I think, the top level of my career there. I didn't see myself with a possible path to reaching a directorship position. So I think I was on the top for my profile there at the Olympic Committee, and I was very professionally satisfied after starting as an assistant and reaching the general manager position and being entrusted to deliver the home games in Rio. So I thought, well, I don't think I'm going to have a challenge bigger than Rio from now on. And I always had a dream of having an international career, living abroad for some time. And also there's the family aspect. I had a little son, and I think that giving him an international experience would be important for him as well. And because of Rio, I was involved in internationally with the IOC, and I was part of. I was involved in the COCOM for Tokyo, so I had a visibility internationally. So if I had to go for an international career, that was my moment. So speaking to my family, I understood that if I wanted to go abroad, that was my chance. So I took it. It was a process that I had a good time to plan and prepare. So I prepared my team for my departure for 1 year. So I started delegating more and preparing my succession. They didn't know, but it was a bit a surprise. But the truth is that when I left, everything was running on itself. So the team was very mature, and I felt very comfortable on leaving, even though it was before Lima Games, which were big games. It was a big hit for the person who took my position, big responsibility. But the team did very well, and the team's in very good hands. So that's more or less.
Good. Now we're moving forward with another question from our audience. Ilva, she has a question, and I don't know. You can read the question. I'm not gonna read it for you.
Hardest, most challenging decision. That's a tricky one.
That was a good question. I told you that. Yeah.
Yes.
But remember, don't be diplomatic. You need to answer the question, okay? You need to go to the point.
No, very well. No, sometimes I don't think it's very specifically related to the sports industry, but sometimes when you're in a managerial position, you're put into tough situations, right? And NOC being a political organization, the leadership changes from time to time as the new president comes in, brings new management, new directions. And sometimes we're faced with challenges that that we're told to take an action that you don't agree, but you have to do it anyway. I think because when I came, the management of the ANOC changed after Rio. There was a completely new direction, and there was a lot of changes going on, and those changes were not reflecting the performance or the capacity of the team, but it was mandatory for us to make changes on the team. And that was, I think, the hardest thing that I have ever had to do, because I had to change my team, not agreeing with it. So I think that's probably one of the hardest things that I ever had to do.
Good. Just to let you know, you have a big fan club. Okay, many people saying hello to you, how great you are, which I know already. So well, we have the comment from Patrick, good friend of both of us. So yeah, we have a big fan club, both of us. So, but yeah, we're gonna move forward. I think now it's time a little bit more. Time is running, so we still have some time. But to tell us more about IGNITX and how do you decide to create this company? How this idea comes from, and everything you can tell us.
Sure.
As a co-founder that you are of the company of IGNITX.
This is definitely a new challenge that we're very excited. So when I moved to ANOC, my first task was to deliver the ANOC World Beach Games. It was a very crazy project, a very interesting one, because the games were supposed to be in San Diego, but 4 months before the games, we have to move it to Qatar. And, when you are in that situation like this, it's only possible to be done if you have the right people. So I didn't thought twice about asking the people that I knew from the past that I knew could deliver such a challenge. So when I asked them, I said, look, this will not be easy. But I'm telling you up front, but do you want to do it? And they all accepted. So, so I was joined by fantastic professionals, which included Neo and Ilva, who are two of the co-founders. Xuan Ming could not come, but because she was busy with other things. But so we managed to deliver Doha very successfully. And then the three girls invited me to start IGNITE in a way to because they go after all the years that especially they had in organizing committees. They thought that perhaps with the company and with all the great people that we knew throughout all these years, we could try to do something different, try to promote change, do something more modern, and because sometimes you're from games to games, you were disappointed with some of the process. They were old, and we were all asking, well, why is this not changing? So we were, why if this doesn't work, why does it keep happening? So we were very unhappy with that, and said, well, let's try to do something different and offer different options of services to potential clients. So that's why we decided to open the company.
Good. So can you tell us even more about the company?
Sure.
Because, for example, about myself, I go into your webpage, I see a lot of curriculums of people with really amazing profiles.
Yeah.
But maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm sure there is much more behind. Actually, I know that there is much more behind.
So the company works is like this. Well, there's obviously the four of us who are co-founders, but the value of the company lies on the professional capacity of the team. So the igniters, how we call them. So we only invite people to join the community, let's say, when we know that those are people who think forward and can deliver great things, because we have worked directly with them. So that's where the value of the company lies. If we have a chance to strive and succeed, is because these people are great people. And so we are joined together trying to send a message of change. But so it's an exchange. They are there as they are volunteers. They are not employees because it's at this moment it's a community. But we will try to get opportunities for them, because we give our names to say, look, these people who are with us, they are great. They can deliver. They can promote change. they can help you reach success. And unlike other consultancy companies, if you say, the difference is that IGNITX don't want to be a consultant that comes and say, look, I think you should do this and this and this because this is what it was done on this and this time. No, the idea is that we become partners. We deliver together with them.
So it's not you want to stay away from this type of consultancy that the guy comes for 24 hours or 48, 6 months before, and starts to point out what they need to do, and he takes the airplane and leaves.
Yes, exactly. So it's a different. We want to become partners and be accountable for the delivery. So that's, I think, the difference. So whenever we have a project, we prospect the client, say, look, this is what you need. We have this and these profiles in our group that we trust 100%, and then we offer it to them. So it's also a way to give young professionals that we met throughout the career that sometimes it's not easy to find projects abroad, to sell themselves internationally to other international event organizations. So we help them on this way as well, on this path.
Good. We have another question from our audience. Norham Campbell. Yes. What are your goals in the sport industry? What would you like to achieve? We have been talking a lot about the past, and I think she wants to open the floor for what's coming next, Gustavo.
Yes, that's a great question. Thanks, Noor. Noor was part of the team in Doha with us, and she did a great job.
First, apologies because I didn't know how to pronounce this name. Okay, I have to apologize, but I tried my best, that's for sure.
So, now from the ANOC side, it's different. I think ANOC is a key organization in the Olympic movement, and I want to try to help it
but what is
take
ANOC?
as much as possible.
But I think what is ANOC? For some people that might not know what is ANOC. So
ANOC is the umbrella organization of all the National Olympic Committees, because as the IOC is organized, unlike like an international federation where the national federations are the members of the assembly, in the Olympic movement, the NOCs are not members of the assembly. The members of the assembly of the IOC is the IOC members. So ANOC is an important arm because that's where all the interests and the opinions of the NOCs go through. So ANOC has a position with the IOC and organizing committees and other international entities to say, look, okay, this is what the interest and the opinion of the NOCs is. So ANOC needs to make the voice of the NOCs heard within the international sports community. And that's a very important role. And especially now with everything and everything that is happening with COVID, all the changes, events being canceled, decisions of level of service being discussed, the new norm, and all of these things. For the NOCs to have their voice heard, ANOC has a very important role to fill, and I want to help ANOC to achieve that. And from the IGNITE side, it's a challenge, but I think it has a great concept, and we really want to promote change in the sports industry by providing better events well delivered, and also giving chance for young professionals who are really, really capable to go and prove to the world that they can deliver. So I would say that. Thanks a lot for the question, Noor. Very challenging one.
Now we have even more challenging questions. There is one from Andrea, which is a really deep question too. I'm pretty amazed about the level of our audience. It's a deep question, Gustavo. I don't know. I mean,
yes. Well, I think this time with COVID was very good for IGNITE because we were doing initiatives like the showcase, for example. But it was very good for us to be able to interact with other companies and to partner with other ones, and because to understand the marketing more, and because we cannot do everything alone, and we do need partners. WizTeam is a great partner of ours. But in terms of partnering with clients, I think this is key. If we are going to provide our services, we need to go all the way, right? We really need to commit and be co-responsible for the delivery. And that's how we feel. That's the way we face. That's the way we want to operate. So whenever we go, to all the way to take really responsibility.
Now almost we're at the end. I'm more talking about from a more philosophical perspective. You already just mentioned in the last question about the COVID, and I would like to know your opinion about how this is impacting the sports industry, your thoughts, where we are going with so many instability.
We only have a very short time, but what I can say is that as many people are saying, and out of challenging times, there's always opportunities, and we have to figure out how we can take this chance to make this system better. So, saving money with travels, is that possible? After everything that is going on, I think it is. So, and how can we save money? There will be less money available for producing bigger events. I think so. So how can we cope with that? So I think this is a good time to think of new solutions, think differently, and see what of good can we take off all this challenging that is being so impacting and hurtful for everyone.
I like the answer. Yeah, I totally agree. It's what you say. New challenges, new opportunities always. So yeah, totally agree with you. Yeah. So I don't know if you have any last comments that you want to say something to the audience, something that we forgot to talk about it. It's the floor is yours, Gustavo.
Thanks. No, I just want to thank you, especially for hosting me. It's been great. Paco is a great dear friend. And all of the people who attended and sent the questions, I think it was great. It was a good and I think a productive chat. And we're going to have the second episode of season 2 of Ignite Showcase. It's going to be on July 22nd at 17 hours. It's going to be another great event professional. Mm-hmm. She did
I was going to ask you about that. What you can tell us about the next showcase?
Yeah, it's different. This person that is joining, she did a different role because she delivered games from the organizing committee side. She was a former athlete as well, and now she's working on an NOC. So she did it a bit different than me. So I'm sure she has interesting stories to share as well.
Perfect. I don't know, from my side, I think that's pretty much it. Again, thanks for the opportunity to do this interview, to talk to you, to chat. Last comment, Ana Paula is sending us un abrazo, which I was expecting more kisses from Ana Paula than an abrazo, but it's okay. I will talk to her later. And well, it has been a big pleasure. Maybe, who knows, maybe we can do it again with another colleague. I have been enjoying the experience a lot. So thanks a lot for this opportunity. And especially thanks for all the people that has been sending questions, and all the audience that has been following this interview.
Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. So thanks to all of you, and see you next time. A big pleasure.
See you next time.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Take care. Ciao.